Hi, this is a PvT on Athena 2, and as you may already have noticed, this is not really my main matchup, so that means that I'm not quite as good in with this matchup as with my main race matchups, which are ZVT, ZVP, PvT, so bear with me. In PvT you can play in many ways. There are a lot of ways which you can cheese your opponent. You can do simply DT rush, you can do a DT drop, reaver drop, very quick expansion with only one gate and so on. But there's also a solid way of playing, and this is basically what I'm going to cover in this FPVOD. Place your pylon at 8 and scout with that probe. I'll keep making constant probes. At around 10 you build a gateway, 12 you build a simulator, 14 you build a cybernetics core, and about 15 or 16 you build a second pylon, and then you can shortly after that you're gonna have enough, your cybernetics core is gonna be finished and you can start a goon and goon range and so on. That's just a general idea anyway. You can throw in a lot of extra things with that. You could throw in some sort of physical harass along with your dragoon harass and so on. But there are a lot of ways of playing really, and none of them are really the only real best way or anything. And over here I'm trying to kind of micro a bit with my probe, trying to get some free kill out of the SCV. Usually it's not really worth it, but this time I felt like doing it since I have a lot of spare time right now. Not necessarily a bad thing either, if you're careful enough. But if you think you could lose your probe in that, then just don't do it. It's much more valuable on knowing what he's doing rather than just killing one SCV or damaging one SCV badly, since usually if they're badly damaged they will just send the SCVs to a different spot or something. So just remember to be careful with that. You can make your second gateway as well. Usually I like to start it a bit after I start my dragoon range and dragoon and so on. But there are a lot of ways of doing it. Like some would start their second gateway before their cybernetics core finishes, but that kind of gives you less options and kind of gives away the build order. So well, it's better when countering like some sort of a Gundam rush and whatever else he might be coming up with. But it's quite it's pretty much the same even if I start a gateway later on, except that he will not suspect this as much, and there are less options which I might be doing and so on. So the basic way, however, is to make 2 gateways, dragoon range and so on, and after that you continue with whatever you want. You could in theory make reavers, but it's gonna be a bit slow, so I don't really recommend it. It's not likely to do very much damage if you make two gateways first. Anyway, it's essential that you destroy his scouting SCV first, so that he knows as little as possible what you're doing. That gives him less options, and he doesn't know what to be aware of. Keep making dragoons for now. Depending on what he's doing, you might be able to expand when you have around 4 dragoons or so. Depends. Usually you only make your robotics facility for observers only after you notice that only after you've started your expansion. But there are a lot of options and variations as well. For example, if he makes a 2-factory build, then you're gonna make your robotics facility first, since 2-factory is kind of almost like all in from Terran. It really brings them behind if they don't do a lot of damage and if they're not successful with it. So making a robotics facility so that you're able to completely block him is quite essential and useful. Also remember that before you have dragoon range, it will be very hard to approach all those marines and tanks and so on. So to properly micro against marines and whatever he might do in his first rush, then you usually gotta have range or be very careful about it. Here I was a bit careless, so it really cost me a lot. You still gotta be careful though, and I'm trying to kind of micro bit, kind of get a few free hits with my dragoons, which supposedly have a longer range, but before they actually have a range it's very difficult, and that's why this micro wasn't too successful. If I had dragon rage right now, I would have no trouble at all, I think. But either way, I can still try. I think I have range now, so I can use that and my micro with it. Keep making dragoons, of course. Constant dragoons are very important, and this is really the most popular TVP opening like for a while now, especially in like public use. I don't know about pro games, but especially in games like this, it's very popular. It's basically allows him to make a very quick expansion while still adding a lot of pressure with this. He only made one factory. It's basically called a Gundam Rush, I think. I don't really remember. It's been a while. I know what it's about, but I don't really remember the name. Well, whatever. Names are not important anyway. So also be careful with his mines over here. They could be anywhere, and if you lose a lot of mines, I mean a lot of goons to mines early on, it could really cost you. And also, since he's double expanding, you also gotta remember that you're gonna need a second expansion at some point as well. I mean, he's making a fast expansion, and Toss in general needs to try and out expand his opponent. So if you don't make a second expansion pretty quickly afterwards, how are you supposed to keep up? He will just run over you eventually. So you're gonna need a second expansion, and maybe even third, depending on the situation. Either way, you gotta cover his choke. It's very important so that you're able to know where he is and when he is, when he moves out, when he might take a new expansion, and so on. There's a lot of ways I could play right now, but since the thread is over, he's in his main and so on, I don't really need a quick observers. That's why I decided to play maybe a slightly unorthodox build and make fast expansion and DTs after that. Those DTs, I never thought that they would really end the game or anything, but they can be pretty useful when trying to simply drive him back to his base, making him waste his scans, and kind of like giving me an edge. Also remember to make your second expansion pretty quick. He made pretty much a fast expansion, not really, but kind of, since he made it on one factory and instantly a command center right after that. I know this since that's a Gundam build, Gundam Rush, so it really allows you to take an expansion right